Hello everybody on the YouTube. So today I have with me this very special guest. His name is Dasboot Isbombus. Say hello, Dasboot.
Hello.
So he is a very good friend, and this is actually interesting. I actually met him when I was working in this HIV research facility, and he was one of our patients. He had HIV at the time.
Yes.
So we meet, and I'm his caretaker or whatever, and we were hitting it off, and we become very good friends. And needless to say, I contract the HIV. So basically, that's the story of how I contract HIV.
Not from me. No,
Oh,
not from me.
oh, yes. I didn't even think that they might pick these things that I got it from you.
So
Yeah,
of
no,
course not.
no, we are not as of what do you say in the English, the homosexuals. We are not that. No, I got it in the name of science, but I don't have HIV anymore, as far as I know.
I still got these scars to prove it.
Yes, they're pretty freaking nasty. Anyways, so today, anyways, so we have this very interesting subject to talk about. So, Dasboot is actually very much scientifically inclined, especially in the areas of astronomy and space beams and whatnot. So, we were talking the other day, and he had this new series that he came up with, and he just blew my mind, you know. So, and basically, his theory basically says it's not the Earth that's flat, it's the Moon. So, Dasboot, would you like to elaborate on this?
Okay. Well, it's very big misconception that the moon is round, but it is not. The moon is flat, much like how the theory of the Earth being flat was proven to be false because the Earth is round. But no, the moon is flat.
Okay. So, why don't you discuss some of the things that kind of brought you to that conclusion? You know, if you were talking about, why is flat, something about the other side of the moon.
Well, as it was documented back in the 1960s of the first humans landing on the moon and the first humans flying around the moon. So they say there's no documented proof of the other side of the moon.
Well, and you think, has anybody ever seen the other side of the moon? You know, I've never seen the other side of the moon. It's every time I look into the night sky, it's the same,
It's the same side. It's the same side.
And the way I see it is, if the moon was the sphere like all these other celestial bodies, then it should rotate on an axis like all the other ones, but the moon doesn't. It doesn't. We just see the one side of the moon.
Thus, the moon is flat.
Yes, see, and that makes so much sense to me.
See, here's something else to think about. You have all of these bright stars in the galaxy, you know, these other sources of light, that if with all those sources of light in the universe, you would think that it would be perfect amount of light to like the other side of the moon, but it's not because they don't, because the moon is flat.
Yeah, you know, that's something I never. So, that makes sense. The supposed dark side of the moon, that doesn't make sense.
No, it does not.
Because you're right, like you're speaking, there's so much of this light, this starlight, that we should be able to see the other side of the moon if it existed, but it doesn't. So therefore,
the moon is flat.
The moon must be flat. So that's a very interesting thing. And here's another thing that I thought about is, so if the moon was round, so okay, we guess that the Earth is a globe, is a sphere, but if the moon was a sphere, you think the astronauts, they would have the very hard time to land on such a small ball, because you think that the moon is exponentially smaller than the Earth. So they would have such a hard time to land on the moon on such a small body if it were the globe, but since it's flat, they can just go, it's like that. So that's the way I see it. So
Agreed.
Okay. I feel like there was more to. Oh yes, and you were talking to me about. Now this really, guys, this really blew my mind. Um, so we were talking about this, and he he explained how because the moon is flat, this has to be the proof for the existence of God. Please,
Yes.
please
So
explain this.
yeah. So this my flat moon theory does prove the existence of God. Now, take for example a piece of paper. It is flat, correct? See, paper is
I
flat.
know, yes.
See, paper is flat, and see, and since the moon is flat, you can a good example. Now we can act upon we can be the gravity of this piece of paper by cutting it and changing it shapes of this piece of paper
Okay.
and folding. Now, when you look at the night sky, it's not the same quote circle every single time.
Right.
The moon just changes shape.
Right.
So who changes the shape of the moon?
That's that's an excellent point. Because you think about it, nothing can move unless some sort of force is acting upon it. So, and that's just the basic physics. Like that's one of Newton's law. That has to do with his law of inertia, you know. But that makes so much sense. You know, how else would the moon be able to fold itself like that if it wasn't for some sort of force acting upon it? So, see, what you're saying makes so much sense to me, but it's just like blowing my mind, you know. But it's amazing to think that now, for the first time in history, we have the empirical evidence for existence for God. So to me, it and what amazes me is that you decide to put this on the YouTube before even writing an essay on it or writing a book or anything on it. You put it on the YouTube first. That's
You
I
put
was
it
talking.
on. I put it on the YouTubes first because this way a lot of people are on the YouTubes nowadays.
That's true.
So me putting this out on the YouTubes makes it my theory first before anyone else can come out after hearing, or I can talk to someone about it and they can be like, oh, it was my theory all along. And no, because it's on now on the YouTube, so it's
Yep.
my theory first.
Yep. So that's a very interesting series. See what I mean. Dasboot is a very smart man. He's very good with the astronomy. But anyways, I think that's really the gist of what the theory that we were discussing. So, anyways, so thank you so much for coming on my YouTube video, Dasboot. I hope to see you again. I hope we can be on the YouTubes together again. This was good conversation, good discussion. But anyways, so you guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again soon. I hope I can make some more YouTube videos soon. And we will have a lot more important scientific discussions like these, I think. So okay. Anyways, bye. It's nice to see you. Everybody, have a good day. Bye bye. Say goodbye, Daspoot.
Goodbye.
Bye, 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 guys.